This is where we left off in the 12th reading of Molasses Moon. And this is, let's see, let me touch that, make sure it doesn't go dim. We're now left off on this page. I'll continue reading. It's interesting that what you can see in the glare on the Kindle, but it still works really well. I love this thing. I'll put it right side up here. So, you ready? Remember where we left off? Left off, I think, saying it's inevitable, about Bantam wanting me unconditionally, unequivocally, ultimately and immediately. Wait and see. Ironic thing is, if that ever did happen now, I think I like where I am. Kindle Glow books. But whatever the future brings, it'll be interesting to see. And probably shouldn't be telling you about the present anyway, but somewhat you're going to know because you'll see where you're reading the book from. Who knows where that'll be, though, when you're actually reading it. All kinds of interesting things could happen, especially this year, which has been trumped up as being everything every which way. Okay, enough of the present. Let's jump back again into 94 history. And the webs we weave in our own personal past are very interesting to learn from and contemplate and recall. It's inevitable, but until I've thoroughly deep cleaned, applying roto-rooter and root canal techniques, my impurities, I'll drag my sweating self along the path to notoriety, the long, hard way. I see now why I like Just Watch Me men. I'm also working the hard way to do the impossible. Maybe I should learn more about bootlegging. Or maybe I should invent a mind freshener. One that works instantly and comes in a spray can. I don't know how it would be applied. I guess I could spray it upward ahead of me, then walk under the mist and shower myself in it. Or I could put it in an attachment to my shower head. Actually, I found something that works maybe even better. That's in my list mania on Amazon about magnesium, but I won't get into that. It will go too far and put you too far in the future and help you reverse the past. You might not be ready for that. I'm not sure I am. Free-flowing shower water reminds me of a quirk in my writing method. I've never been able to follow much of a plan. I have to get it perking, then I go with it. If I try to direct it too much, I kill the boiling bubbles. I do usually have a general goad in mind, but I have to let it find its own way to pop. This quirky type of mad method I've marinated allows no force and little guidance. But I can manipulate the hell out of it if I stay light and silly. My unconscious mind must feel fizz as a pleasant tickling effect. This reminds me, in one of my videos, I have to go back and check the words, but I was reading fizz, fuzz, I repeated it twice, and I don't know what I was misreading, but you can check it too. Hopefully you have the real book as well as watching these videos. I keep forgetting, but I'm going to look back and see what I was misreading there. The rest of that video was pretty well done, but that one will just have to be a joke on me and the reader and whoever else wants to have it as a joke. Repeating, my unconscious mind must feel fizz as a pleasant tickling effect. Now, The point of power is in the present, and brain waves have a definite presence. One warm Sunday afternoon, Tom was sprawled napping on the sofa, and I was reading fiction. Tom doesn't nap often. While I'm nose to the grindstone, head in the clouds, he's balls to the wall, pedal to the metal, working on something. His brain waves violently speeding, crashing, meshing, merging, and melding. Once in 6 months, he tones down the radiation and spends the Sunday sleeping. TV reflections flickering across his face. He's usually sick or trying not to get that way when he has a sedentary afternoon. By the end of the day, rather than being refreshed, he's ready to kill. His sense of peace seems to come only after having squashed 70 days' work into one. Whatever time it is, you could set your clock by his response. It's already 10 o'clock? Damn, grumble, groan, moan. Be that as it may, that day he was asleep. He must have suddenly fallen deeper. Even Buddha would have been in awe of the instant plummet of his alpha rhythms. I looked up from my novel. Some type of buzzing had ceased. What peace! It was like when you notice the refrigerator compressor has been making a lot of racket, but you didn't notice until it clicked off. I smiled at Tom's peaceful, flickering face, realizing instantly that it had to have been his brain activity I had been hearing. The waves hadn't stopped, of course, just relaxed so dramatically. I felt the shift as absolute and sudden silence. Mothers with infants might be able to say they've noticed a similar effect, especially when a hyperactive child finally drops in his tracks, thank God. You might note now that the reason Tom doesn't read often is he doesn't sit often. It's hard to read and whiz around simultaneously. Now to me, sitting, even lying down to read, is not only a joy, but a valuable use of time. Of course it helps when reading is part of your work. I do wonder sometimes, though, if I shouldn't move my body around more. I would hate to become a slug. I sometimes want to forget I'm in a physical world. That's probably why I invented a story about Maya Gem being from Kashmir. Why do you think I'm so interested in undermining matter and being able to manipulate it with thoughts? Who knows? Maybe I did originate from a mental world. I have a strong mind. And I'd just as soon be able to mold my body weight, shape, and maneuverability with wishful thinking. It's so much easier. Though I really don't have to worry about my backbone much, my rear is spreading. I guess I'm lazy. And bun buster videos just aren't my cup of tea. I can bust my buns and spill coffee all the way down my attic stairs anytime I want. And break glass, too. My God, it's already page 10 of chapter 7? And I haven't woven a thing. Well, I have woven a few things, but not the things I said I was going to. Don't worry, though. I typoed tough here. I'll get to them all in time. 10 pages, hopefully in this one book. I don't know about you, but I think life would be boring without sidetracks. Tiring, too. And a bit overdone with drudgeries. Isn't it nice when the sidetracks are actually amazingly on track? When you see the whole picture from the proper perspective? Up, 2, 3, 4. I'm exercising my mind. Bear with me means what you think and more. As do most trite, overused, or idiomatic, specific to a culture, expressions. I've let myself have a pretty free rein with them, as well as with incomplete sentences in this book, for a reason. You'll figure it out. If you don't, I might be coerced to tell you by my someday to exist editor. Now I'm my own editor, which is fine with me. Oh, but I'm not perfect. And that was outside the book. Okay, let's get back in. If you look up bear in the dictionary, the meaning before the furry animal says to carry or support. When a few people support the same ideas, those ideas can become pretty strong. That is good and bad. If ideas are good, it's good. But what if the ideas are good and so many people believe them for so long, they forgot what they mean and continue sprouting them anyway, sometimes pounding you into the ground with them? Isn't that what happened with idioms and religions? It's not a coincidence that idiom and idiot are so alike. Oh dear, page 11 is here. I'd like to keep my chapters under 11 pages, if possible. So I'll wrap it up now by being where I am and seeing the significance again. My neighbor across the street is playing her organ. It sounds so much like church music, it's making me nervous. The universe is probably trying to teach me a godly lesson in humility. I don't know why that virtue is godly anyway. He isn't humble. It, the universe, doesn't know how to quit while it's ahead. It'll never happen. Humility doesn't fit my backbone. Snorting and cursing doesn't do much to develop meekness either. Neither does knowing it all. At least I said I wasn't sure if I do or don't yet. The organ is more pleasant than the heavy metal the other neighbor blasts out into the universe via my house. I don't mind the music. It's the volume. It vibrates enough to register proudly on the Richter scale. He never hears when you call. You have to pound the ground or set a bomb to get his attention. Place the explosive under his stereo. Answer everyone's prayers. Honestly, I'll give credit where it's due. Tom asked him a few weeks ago to keep the sound down, and he has. Now the ground shakes only a few miles under his foundation. I can usually hear Captain Picard over the heavy metal. Well, that's it for this chapter. Note I've stayed in the power of the present the whole time. Well, more or less. In the book I did. Take care. Be careful. Don't let the bed bugs bite. And don't bite the hand that feeds you the egg sandwiches. Next chapter coming up. Chapter 8. Qualmlessness. Did you notice chapter 7 is impurity packed with sidetracks, qualms, and idioms? The impurities do belong. I keep saying this. I feel like a trial lawyer, fending off objections. Your Honor, bear with me. Yeah, that's another good place to pause. So we just opened chapter 8. And I'm trying to make a case that getting rid of qualms and being at a pure state of consciousness is definitely a worthy effort or pursuit. But like with everything, or with a lot of things, not everything. What you do along the way, what you enjoy along the way, is part of the spice. And might be as important as the end result. I'm not sure yet. I'm still thinking about everything, including what I said in my books. So they'll make you think too, which is a good thing.